This episode of On the Record is brought to you by Associated Equipment Distributors. I'm Executive Editor Kim Schmidt. I'm at Kuhn North America in Broadhead, Wisconsin, a stop on AEM's Manufacturing Express Tour. Welcome to On the Record. Here's an update on what's currently impacting the ag equipment industry. With Hurricane Helene past us and Hurricane Milton making landfall this week, a report from the Farm Bureau shows nearly 100,000 farms operate in the affected counties, and $14.8 billion in crop and livestock production is generated in the affected counties. Beyond just the farms being impacted, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida have 114 ag implement manufacturing companies among them, according to North American Industry Classification System data. And Ag Equipment Intelligence data shows there are 259 farm equipment dealership locations in those states as well. While it's not clear yet just what the extent of the agricultural losses are, if just 1/3 of this output were lost, agricultural damages could reach nearly $5 billion, and that doesn't include damages and losses to the manufacturers and dealerships that are impacted. This week's dealers on the move include Redline Equipment and Equipment Ontario. Case IH dealer Redline Equipment agreed to acquire Wells Equipment sales in Litchfield, Michigan. The Litchfield store will be Redline's third location in Michigan and the 13th overall. Case IH and JCB dealer Equipment Ontario opened a new location in Alliston, Ontario. This is the dealership's 6th location. Now here's Noah Newman with the latest from the Technology Corner.
Thank you very much, Kim. So every now and then here in the Technology Corner, we like to spotlight farmers who are using the precision technology that we cover on the program. And this time we're catching up with Southern Iowa farmer Mark Dobson, who's using the 360 Rain autonomous irrigation and nutrient application system for the first time this summer on his organic strip till operation.
So I'm doing part of my nutrients with it now, so that kind of changes my organic world. And I think in the future, I will be able to seed cover crops with it during the season. So all my crops will have something growing when I'm done. I did not get mine into the field till late this year, so I did not get to run it all season, but I did get to make some manure passes on my organic corn, and it's kind of incredible to be able to have access to your field from the time you plant it till harvest with not just water, but nutrients. It's going to make the research part of me, my head spin, because there's so many different things that I want to try and and do with that I don't know where the end of that is or isn't.
Dobson farms about 420 acres of organic corn, soybeans, and wheat, and he also runs a custom strip till operation covering about 2,000 acres across southern Iowa, and we'll have to check back in with him next summer to see how it goes with the 360 Rain unit and his cover crop seeding. In the Technology Corner, I'm Noah Newman. Back to you, Kim.
Thanks, Noah. While dealers, farmers, and residents in the Southeast begin the recovery process from damages from Hurricanes Helene and Milton, dealers and farmers in the High Plains are dealing with a completely different challenge. Drought conditions paired with high winds are causing an increased fire threat. According to the U.S. Drought Monitor, the majority of the High Plains are in some level of drought. In Nebraska, 37% of corn production is being affected by severe drought as of October 8th. When you look at spring wheat, 100% of production is being affected by severe drought. Greg Mintz, sales manager for AGCO dealer Wells Implement in Plymouth, Nebraska, and a volunteer firefighter, says last Saturday, parts of Nebraska saw a number of good-sized fires that were hard to stop because of the high winds. The best way to combat the fire is tillage, he says, but in an area with a large no-till adoption, that isn't always a welcome solution. He says as a preventative measure, discs were being placed near fields to have on hand should a fire spark. He's also heard of some farmers attaching sprayer tanks and pumps to their grain carts to have water at the ready and close to the combine in case of a fire. Mintz says temperatures are expected to drop to the 60s in the next week, which should help reduce the risk of fire. Throughout Leicester Media's coverage of ag practices dating back to 1972, it's our sense that our farm subscribers have become increasingly conservative since the early 1980s. To gauge where farm customers stand today, a Farm Equipment Insider text poll asked dealers what percent of their voting U.S. farm customer base do they estimate as their dealer will vote with the GOP come November. The clear majority said 75% of their customers will vote Republican in the upcoming presidential election. This week's DataPoint is brought to you by Ag Equipment Intelligence's 2025 Executive Briefing. According to FarmDoc Daily from the University of Illinois, September corn stocks are shown relative to levels for the past 25 years. Stocks are growing, but the rate of change is less than observed during rising stock periods like 2005 and 2014. Joe Jansen, author of the report, says, the historic comparison to the 2013 to 15 build is apt as current expectations are for a second year of growing corn ending stocks in 2025. While the pace of growth in stocks is now anticipated to be slower than observed between 2013 and 2015, the overall change looks markedly similar, and inventory growth at that time did usher in sustained period of lower prices. As always, we welcome your feedback. You can send comments and story suggestions to kschmidt@lestermedia.com. Until next time, I'm Kim Schmidt. Thanks for joining us.